Hey guys, Luna here, and welcome to another episode of That Crypto Hustle. Super excited today. I have Kurt Braggett from White Rabbit.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Kurt?
How are you?
Good, good, good. So,
Cool.
White Rabbit is an ICO news and listing site. Encourage you guys to check it out. So, Kurt, I wanted to have you on the show today because I wanted to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is still a good investment and talk about the future of Bitcoin. So, interestingly enough, I went to TechCrunch blockchain sessions conference in a few weeks ago, and essentially it's really interesting is that a lot of these different payment gateways are still considering Bitcoin, especially transaction with bigger merchandisers. However, Bitcoin is not the best technology out there. So, I mean, I'd love to hear your take as a developer. Why do you think it's still a preeminent payment solution? And obviously, what your predictions are for the future and whatnot. So, I mean, I guess the question is like, is it still a good investment? And what's the future entails essentially?
Okay, so I'll try to answer simply first. I think yes, it is a good investment, and this is not investment advice, which kind of sounds ridiculous because I just said it's a good investment, so I don't even know if I should say that. But I think yes, and it is so. But that being said, my simple answer of yes, complex question, and the answers are very complex too. And let's start looking at the scope of these answers. So it's not good tech, but it's not the latest and greatest. And that's true in a way, but let's figure out what that really means, because there's all these new kids on the block and their technology isn't really tried and true. Like, one of the things about Bitcoin is it's been around for almost 10 years. It's sort of like the tortoise and the hare. And this whole proof of work scheme, even though people hate on it and knock it for the electricity and all of that shit, I don't really care about that, honestly. I think that proof of work is pretty awesome, actually. I think that it's tried and true. It hasn't been hacked. Yeah, people hack it off of exchanges and stuff, but the Bitcoin network and the Bitcoin blockchain have never been hacked. Not once, ever. So, a lot of people are going to say, well, maybe there's going to be a 51% hack. And so when you're a big business and we start talking about people who are going to integrate this stuff into their apps, 10 years, long-standing, secure network. And so that's one part of it. It's a tried and true technology. And yeah, it might not be the fastest or whatever, but that doesn't matter. Another little point I would say about Bitcoin is that, we're kind of on the cutting edge of crypto. So we know about all this new shit that's out there, but it kind of reminds me of why do people still like the Rolling Stones? There are so many bands out there that are way cooler, but it's just sort of the way the mainstream and these larger institutions kind of come onto the markets, they're not seeing all of these latest and greatest cryptos, and Bitcoin is still, contrary to our belief and our kind of context that we have, Bitcoin is still coming on the radar for some people. They're just learning about it and they're just thinking about it. They're not seeing all these cool new technologies. EOS is risky, and they might not have even heard of it.
So also something that's interesting is that a lot of these bigger companies, like Amazon, for instance, probably will come out with their own coin in some future. So, I mean, how will that impact Bitcoin overall? If all these different companies start tokenizing essentially, what do you think that's going to look like?
Yeah, so and I think that kind of a theme that I feel like we can cover here is building up all of these different arguments of really what come down to levers on the price of Bitcoin. There's all these different factors, and so Amazon, I think that this is a tricky question because I don't really know whether or not they're going to be releasing their own token. I've heard
I
some
mean,
rumors.
obviously, yeah, it's speculation and rumors. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but let's just say they did. What does
Yeah.
it mean?
Yeah.
Um, I think that it could actually mean that the Bitcoin price would go up because
Mm.
depending on how this token is minted and what chain it's on, it likely, I mean, unless they allow people to buy direct through their site, which I feel like would be a really risky venture for Amazon, honestly, but that token would have to go into a secondary market and an exchange. And Bitcoin still to this day, this is a huge lever actually here, is the on-ramping currency. So it's like Bitcoin is the gateway drug. And so if you want to get onto an exchange to buy Amazon coin, like a lot of times you have to jump into Bitcoin, throw your Bitcoin onto that exchange. And so if anything, you'd have all these buyers buying into the crypto, to Amazon crypto, but still on secondary markets would still need to on-ramp through Bitcoin. So I think that would mean good things for the price of Bitcoin. And I feel like this is actually one of the biggest reasons why the price of Bitcoin is going to constantly go up, because as new tokens come on the market, Bitcoin is so tried and true and so well established on like as a trading pair, right? So if you hop into any of these exchanges, you're going to see everything is trading for Bitcoin,
Yeah.
right?
That's the
So
baseline. Yeah.
yeah.
But so why do you think we've seen such volatile market, especially from what we saw in December 2017, January 2018, to what's currently happening, where the price just keeps on going down and it's just been all over the place? Like what do you think's currently happening?
I have you ever seen this graph? It's called like the startup graph, and it shows
I
like
think
the
so.
trough of despair and everything. I'll show it to you guys later. Maybe we can link to it or something. But it's like when things start out, they kind of skyrocket, and then it like fizzles out, and then it kind of has these different stages. And
Mm,
I think the overall like ICO market was experiencing some of that. Not Bitcoin itself, but Bitcoin is definitely tied to that.
hmm.
Uh, and so I think that what happened was we were actually having a lot of irrational speculation.
Yeah.
And really what that would mean is that this is a kind of correction. And what we really need to do is I like to look at Bitcoin as like the tortoise from the tortoise and the hare, as I suggested earlier. And right now, Bitcoin is around 7 grand or something, or maybe lower, a little bit lower, but that's a lot higher than $5 when I first bought it. So, I mean, like that, like, so whatever, these markets can correct themselves, but somebody who's like in the HODL gang, they're okay with what's going on right now. It's just a correction. It's just another blip. And me personally, I don't get wrapped up in it. It's like getting wrapped up in drama. I don't care about trading or anything like that. I just care about the overall trajectory of these markets over 5 to 10 years. And this doesn't mean shit that it's going down a lot, you know?
So what do you think will be the solution to solve some of these transaction per second issues? What do you foresee could potentially happen as we see more and
Well,
more transaction happening through Bitcoin?
yeah, so there's a lot of solutions that they proposed. And I think that one of the problems with Bitcoin is that, and somebody described this to me in a really great analogy that I'll share with you, is that these tokens are like ships that are in the ocean, right? And a small ship is kind of just tossing around a lot, but Bitcoin is more like a yacht. It's just kind of cruising. And so it means that it can't really move. Bitcoin is almost now like a large corporation that is not very nimble. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of internal battles with it.
Yeah.
And so the issue of TPS, I believe that they will solve this. I mean, they might, if the guys don't lose their patience, but as more companies onboard onto it and it's an open source project, anybody can come along and start creating proposals for how to solve this TPS issue. And I think that what they will, there's a few, Lightning Network, SegWit, a lot of these different, proposed solutions that have already been kind of implemented, and they have fixed it somewhat, but you have to think about Bitcoin. Well, this is the way I understand it, and it helps me, is that Bitcoin is more like a yacht. If you want to change the course of the yacht, now you're moving a massive structure and it might take a little bit more time, but trust me, if they did make this kind of change and the TPS was higher, I mean, this could be pretty worrisome for the rest of the market, for the other tokens that are claiming they have high TPS. Now they don't have the infrastructure or anything that Bitcoin has, right?
Yeah, no, most definitely. And so what about all these different forks that are in the market? Could they potentially, Bitcoin forks, like could they potentially be another form of currency that could be used by bigger corporation, like Bitcoin
I'd say
Cash?
that the most significant one right now is probably Bitcoin Cash.
Mhm.
But somebody did an analysis of like legitimate transactions on Bitcoin Cash recently. I don't remember the numbers, but Bitcoin Cash was supposed to be like a true fork that was supposed to honor Satoshi's vision of it being a digital currency. And like the Bitcoin core guys really need to answer for this, and they kind of haven't, is that Bitcoin Core isn't the currency, the digital currency dream that everybody imagined. It's just simply not. It's digital gold, and that's boring as fuck, right? So I'm thinking like Bitcoin Cash is supposed to be the fork that does that, and Roger Vere's team and stuff. But the issue with that right now, as it stands, as I can see, is that they haven't really done a good job of achieving that either. But I know that they're trying harder to achieve that mission of transactions a lot more strongly than I think Bitcoin Core is doing. So,
Interesting.
and the other forks in Bitcoin, I don't really, I'm not that excited about them. They just seem like,
Why
you
not?
know, ways of copying and pasting your money to other networks. Really, that's what it is to me. But those guys that are running those projects would obviously just like hate me and want to kill me because like I guess maybe Bitcoin Diamond is the next sweet thing. I don't really know, but I doubt it.
Okay, cool. So conclusion, Bitcoin is still a good investment. We're not giving investment advice by no means, but if you're looking to whether or not you still want to essentially be part of the revolution, invest in Bitcoin, you definitely should consider it, and mainly because it's still sort of the gold standard of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, that's how I would say that's a good way of describing it.
Awesome. Thank you, Kurt. So where can we find you on social media?
On Twitter, CurdyBot, and you can find our site, whiterabbiticos.com.
And you also have a YouTube channel.
I do. That's White Rabbit on YouTube, ICO Discovery.
Awesome. And I'll make sure to include all the links in the description. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. And make sure to subscribe. Crypto Hustle. See ya.